Bruce Jenner, greatest athlete in the world. Are you old enough to remember the Montreal Olympic Games in 1976? I do, and it was awesome. And about 15 years ago, I got to meet Bruce Jenner, and that was pretty awesome. Liked Bruce a lot. More recently, I met Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn, I like Caitlyn. Caitlyn actually has a lot to say about a lot of things. We're pretty laid back, actually, in America, in a lot of ways, and very open-minded. In fact, Caitlyn Jenner was invited, and she accepted an invitation to speak at the Republican National Convention in 2016. She voted for Trump. In fact, she said it was harder to come out as a Republican than it was to come out as trans, believe it or not. America is not how they say. MAGA is not how they say. RuPaul, you know RuPaul? Has a daytime show, a nighttime show, a game show, RuPaul. And at night, RuPaul dresses differently, like this. One of the most beloved entertainers in America. We're laid back, open-minded. We are not like they say we are.
We've seen over 250 anti-LGBTQ bills proposed this year. Over half of them are targeting our trans community.
We need our leaders to, stop this irresponsible dehumanization of the LGBTQ community.
They have to stop literally demonizing, as in making demons out of the LGBTQ community.
This is lies. This is distortion. This is fear-mongering. No one's demonizing the transgender community for simply being transgender. This, however, has gotten our attention. Messing with children, transgender, cross-dressing, whatever you want to do, post-18. Why do they want to be with children? What's happening here? I think, actually, I figured it out. I got a great big clue, because I've been wondering, actually, about that shooter. This is Audrey Hale, the Nashville school shooter, a few years ago, back when she apparently was happy and healthy. At least it appears that way. And then, more recently, a bit confused, maybe conflicted. And then, a murderous maniac in a school killing children. How did that happen? How do you go from that to that? Now, it's Audrey Hale's responsibility. This is a country, and this is a world, and we are a human race, and there is free will. At the same time, though, there are some very powerful forces at work, and vulnerable people are getting swept up. There is a false sense of oppression that is being promoted and being disseminated to gain political power and to gain money. Oh yeah, money is a major, major factor here. You've heard, of course, of the LGBTQIA+ community. You hear about it every day, all day long. But the Q and the I and the A, I don't know what the I and the A and the plus are, by the way. Most people don't, but that's relatively new. I do remember 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when none of that applied. It was just LGB, the LGB community. It's even hard to say, but that's what folks used to say. Listen to this.
We were the go-to LGB authority.
The Commission has also found that discrimination against lesbian, gay, and bisexual individuals.
LGB students are 2 times more likely to be bullied than heterosexual students.
Okay, LGB. I remember that. You may as well, although actually it hasn't been said in such a long time because it's all about LGBTQIA+. Now, what happened? Well, back in 2015, the lesbian, gay, and bisexual community, equal marriage, the Supreme Court approved it, right? There's marriage in America, equality of marriage. And it was a great moment. I don't have a problem with it, quite frankly. I know some people do, but hey, okay, fine. And the media, they went bananas over it, and why not?
You cannot imagine the roar of this crowd when it became evident the first decision the court was going to announce today was the landmark ruling that this crowd has been waiting for
You can hear the cheer in the crowd. A very dramatic moment here. A 5-4 decision written by Justice Anthony Kennedy. This is a total victory for the advocates of same-sex marriage.
It was a ruling decades in the making. A hard-fought victory for the right to marry, guaranteed in a landmark decision that emphasized equality for gays and lesbians.
Total victory, the guy said. Total victory. And in America, you can get married if you're gay. You can join the military being gay. Oh, by the way, that they used to say that was an advantage, being gay. You didn't get married and you didn't join the military. But total victory. You won! Now what? Wait a second. Because there are very powerful interest groups who raise money off of issues that appeal to the LGBT community, but the LGBT community already got everything they need, so we have to change it. We have to up it, right? Right.
President Obama reaffirming his commitment to the fight with the LGBT community.
This was aimed specifically at members of the LGBT community.
It's a very clear message about protecting the rights of the LGBT community worldwide.
All right, LGBT. Thing is, there aren't that many T's, actually. Very, very, very small percentage. So you got to throw a few other things in there. The QIA plus part we were talking about, still very, very few. And look, now you can do everything. You can get married, join the military, you can do all those things. So how do you keep this going? How do you raise money? How do you feel aggrieved? You somehow involve kids, and you try to make children and their exposure to LGBTQIA+ somehow a matter of civil rights. How do you do that? I mean, that's kind of tricky, right? Kids are children. Kids are kids. Nothing about sexuality they should be exposed to, right? Certainly not without the permission of their parents. But if you object, what will they accuse you of?
The trans community just did not become under attack recently. The community has been under attack at every level for years.
Basically eradicating transgenderism from public life clearly is what is on the agenda.
The politician who said transgenderism needs to be eradicated, of course that scares me. Yes, that scares me.
And people like J.K. Rowling need to stop, because my people are dying because of her. She is killing us.
Your people, our people, American citizens, citizens of the world. If you happen to be T, at least in this country, you can do whatever you want, except this, except indoctrinate children. That's the issue we have, and they pretend it's something else. But how the vitriol, the aggression on their part, it intimidates people, and they comply, and they're fooled. Can you believe, it's still hard to believe, that thousands of employees of Walt Disney walked off the job over that allegedly Don't Say Gay bill in Florida, which just meant that substitute teachers shouldn't be talking about sex with third graders. Could any reasonable person have a problem with that? Of course not. And Audrey Hale, apparently we don't know the full story yet, but the police have said that they're working off the theory that gender identity played a big role in this crime. She couldn't find purpose and meaning in the transgender experience because it's not about that. Life is not about that. Life is not about your genitalia or your gender identity. But there are so many people who will sign you up for surgery or sign you up for a new lifestyle. A doctor once said it this way. Picture ballet dancers, and one of them goes to see the doctor and says, "Doctor, I'm 95 pounds, but I must be 83 pounds. I am so fat." We call that anorexia. That's a disorder. You need help. You need food and maybe some psychological help. But the way it works in the transgender world, well, okay, you think you're a girl? Let's go ahead and set you up with surgery. Let's go ahead and put you on life-altering hormonal puberty blockers, whatever, stuff that is untested and dangerous because you say you need it, instead of looking for a real fix, something permanent, something wholesome, something that actually works. I saw this just a few minutes ago, and I think that we have a major problem that's getting worse by the second. This is from Canada, right next door, and it's coming to a network near you.
Why are you nervous?
But I've never met anyone that's not. I can't really explain.
Is this your first time seeing a drag queen?
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
Excited, but a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit nervous. I've never seen a drag queen before.
And what do you think?
I think it's cool.
It's great?
Yeah.
Why are you nervous?
I don't know, it's just different and new. Yeah.
Do you think that boy can wear makeup?
Yes.
And would you agree that makeup is for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Where do you buy your drag clothes?
I bought this at Value Village, secondhand. I make a lot of it, and sometimes I'll buy things secondhand and I'll alter them to make them more drag.
I think we got to call the Canadian Mounties. This looks like a crime to me, actually. It does. And that's the Canadian government, isn't it? The CBC. So they yell and scream and shout to give them cover to do things like this. It's dangerous, obviously, isn't it? And you know who had a big role in all of this? Barack Obama. Absolutely. This man elevated victimhood. He rode it all the way to the White House, actually, in a certain way. Do you remember the beer summit back in 2009? Let's talk about that for a moment, because I think that was a pivotal shift in American life. So Professor Gates, prominent academic at Harvard University, well-respected, went on a business trip and some seminar somewhere. He goes home to Cambridge, Massachusetts, and he has to break into his own house because he forgot his key. Some neighbor, who happened to be Hispanic, by the way, called the police because they didn't recognize Professor Gates and it looked like he was breaking into the house. Well, he got into an argument with the cops and they took him in because he said some pretty vile, awful things. Became a national story because Barack Obama wanted to make it one. He had no idea what he was talking about and he shouldn't have said anything, but he did.
Recently, Professor Henry Louis Gates Jr. was arrested at his home in Cambridge. What does that incident say to you, and what does it say about race relations in America?
Well, I should say at the outset that Skip Gates is a friend, so I may be a little biased here. I don't know all the facts.
He should have stopped there, but he didn't.
I think it's fair to say, number one, any of us would be pretty angry. Number two, that the Cambridge police acted stupidly in arresting somebody when there was already proof that they were in their own home. And number three, what I think we know separate and apart from this incident is that there is a long history in this country of African Americans and Latinos being stopped by law enforcement disproportionately. And that's just a fact.
And this is where he lost the presidency and lost the country. And this set us up for what we're going through right now, I believe. Because he left out the part that disproportionately Black and Hispanics commit more crime. That was very, very important. But he misled. It was a sin of omission, and a big one. Police are racist because they disproportionately stop Black and Hispanic people. That's what the President of the United States just said, and it's wrong. It is a sin of omission, or I could call it a flat-out lie. By the way, he got into a lot of hot water about this. The American people were incensed, and they invited the police officer and the professor for the famous beer summit. They came together and they had a couple of beers. I actually thought this was kind of nice in a way, you know, talk it out. He couldn't leave it at that. Obama, in his memoir, complained that they all had to be nice to the white cop. No joke. It's in his memoir. You can look it up. So it became fashionable, powerful, politically expedient to ignore certain facts and focus on others. And gave rise to a lot of things in this country, including the hideous Black Lives Matter movement. Now, that may look nice. Wow, how righteous is that? Beautiful picture, right? But this is what it really looked like. The horrible burning, looting, destruction. And they said that this was a peaceful protest. These were peaceful protests. And it led to big problems for cops on the beat and also for the communities they serve. Did you ever see this? It happened in 2021 in Ohio.
Because I asked you to.
No.
Okay.
For what? What did I do?
Because I told you to.
What did I do?
Well, you passed a counterfeit dollar bill back.
Because of lies from Barack Obama and people on the left, police have lost their authority. You're stopping me because you're racist. Oh, by the way, that man wound up dead, and the police officer was shot in the head. He survived, by the way, and he's a hero. I document this in my book, which is available wherever books are sold, Justice for All, How the Left is Wrong About Law Enforcement. So, Barack Obama, two-term president, $1 billion in the bank, private jets, goes wherever he wants, does whatever he wants, he's set. The Democrats, you got yourself Joe Biden in the White House, okay? You got yourself your empty suit who will do whatever you want. What did the people get? We got this. Terrified children. And we have a culture ignoring the fact that perverse gender affirmation has led, most likely, to what happened in Nashville and beyond. We'll be right back.